Okay, so in today's lecture, we are going to finish the remaining part for the chapter 4, which is the external natural convection. And in last class, we basically, you know, introducing that what is the natural convection and what's the governing equation for it. I think one advantage for this online class is that basically we can quickly to review what we did in the last class. So this is a note for the last class. So basically we quickly, in the last class, we introducing what is convection, natural convection. And, for vertical natural convection along with a vertical plate, we give what's the current continuity equation and momentum and energy equation. And one important thing is that Bosnisk approximation. Basically, that means that two assumptions here. One is means that constant variable properties. Another thing is that the density changes is related to a thermal expansion coefficient and also the temperature difference. And with this Bosnisk approximation, we can derive the final, governing equation for the, for the flow inside this convective boundary layer, in the close region to the vertical plate. There are some other assumptions made that there's no horizontal velocity, the gradient on the x direction on the flow on the plate direction gradient is much smaller than the direction on the y direction. So that's why we neglect that partial square u or partial x square. Okay, and after we got the equation, we're using 3 methods to study this equation to try to get some results. The first one is the scaling analysis, and by doing scaling, we find that by doing scaling, we find that for this natural convective boundary layer, one special thing is that we have this so-called double layer structure. And especially for the velocity profile that, we will have a, maximum value of velocity in the some point somewhere, inside the boundary layer, and then as a wall and as a free stream, both velocity will be 0. We won't see this behavior in the forced convection boundary layer. And so we will also have two boundary layer thickness. And the relationship between these two thickness definitely is also related to fluid properties for when Prandtl number is very large or when Prandtl number is very small. When Prandtl number is large, because Prandtl number is defined by the nu over alpha, and nu is kinetic viscosity. So when Prandtl number is large, that means that your viscosity is big. So your velocity gradient will reach to a very far region. So your velocity boundary layer will be thick. And if your alpha is big, that means your thermal diffusivity is big. That means which leads to that a larger thermal boundary layer. And this is the cases that when Prandtl number is small. And let me move this way. And the important result is showing on this table. Basically, that means that when Prandtl number is larger than 1, the boundary layer thickness basically thermal boundary layer thickness is actually with this scale. And later on, with the other method, we can show you that, okay, basically from this equation, remember this definition, this is Rayleigh number. This definition is Rayleigh number. We have 3 important dimensionless number that are used for this natural convection. Grashof, Rayleigh number and also the Bosnisk number. The difference between these three is just a multiplier of Prandtl number or not. Okay. Later on we can stay. Remember that this Rayleigh number you have a temperature difference there, factor there, and also has a cubic length scale in this Rayleigh number. So in these cases, you have a Rayleigh number depend on H. That means that let me write somewhere. So that means that this Rayleigh number depend on H. That means that it has approximately to H to the third, to power third. And if you times minus 1/4 and times another H, so that means that this H Rayleigh number of H minus 1/4. Basically, that means that it's equal to H to the 1/4. Okay, so what does this mean? This means that for these cases, okay, the thermal boundary layer thickness basically is proportional to along the this plate to the if I using x direction, if I using x coordinate for the along the plate direction, that means that your boundary layer thickness will proportional to x to the power of 1/4. Okay, and for Prandtl number, smaller than 1, so everything is very similar to the Prandtl number, close to Prandtl larger than 1. The only difference is that you just replace this Rayleigh number to this Rayleigh number times another Prandtl number. So that is the Bosnisk number. So basically, Bosnisk number is defined as this Rayleigh number times Prandtl number. Okay, so basically in this equation here, you can just replace this with h of Bosnisk number of minus 1/4. So they are the same thing. Okay, this one and this one. All right, and so this is the scaling. And after doing the scaling analysis, this is that is the three important dimensionless number we talked about. The second solution, the second way to study the problem is we do the integral solution. Is very close to what we did for the procedure is very close to what we did for the force convection case. And the only special thing is that we have an additional term here for the buoyancy term. All the others will be exactly same to the case we have when we have in the force convection case. And to solve this momentum energy and momentum integral equation, we need to know the distribution of U and the temperature, velocity and temperature. So with to solve these two equations, we need to know the velocity and the temperature profile. We have a simple way to do it. Basically, we assume that the two boundary layer has the same thickness. We assume this U velocity and this temperature profile, and we have two unknowns. This maximum value of the U in that profile, and also we do not know this delta boundary layer thickness. But we have two equations. We bring it to that momentum equation. We can solve this both delta and this big U, and then we can know what the boundary layer thickness will be and what the Nussbaum number will be for the heat transfer. Another more difficult way is that we have different boundary layer thickness for delta and delta T. For these cases, if we still assume, we can assume if we assume this profile, we have three unknowns, and we introducing an additional momentum equation in the region close to the wall, and we have three equations. We can solve it. Okay, so the important thing, the result is like both the boundary layer, the velocity, the maximum value of the U velocity will changing on x direction to the square root of x, and the boundary layer thickness, both the velocity and thermal, will also change on the x direction, but in the order of x to the 1/4. And the last thing we did in the last class is that we do the similarity solution. And also, again, okay, it's very close to what we did in the false convection case, and only be careful about this additional term we have for this buoyancy term. So to handling this buoyancy term, what we did is that we're using different definition of the similarity function and similarity variable. So basically, we just remember that in this similarity solution, in the false convection cases, okay, just let me write it. So in the false convection case, which is chapter 2 we did for the flow over flat plate. So what we did, how we define the similarity variable. So when we define it is eta equal to y over x to Reynolds number 2x and 1 over 2. So this is what we did in the false convection, and this is what we did in the natural convection. And then we define u over u infinity equal to f prime. So this is what we did in the false convection. So if you compare with the false convection cases and the natural convection cases, we will see that basically we just replace the Reynolds number to this Rayleigh number, and also we change the power of 1 over 2 to power of 1 over 4. Okay, so what does this tell us? Basically, this tells us that this Rayleigh number can be, can actually play the same role as the Reynolds number plays in the false convection. Okay. And what's the Reynolds number's role in the false convection? It's telling us that what the flow range will be, right? We know that Reynolds number is very large, we will have turbulence. Reynolds number is small, we have laminar. And similar thing here. We will go through that later when we're talking about the turbulent convection. We can also determine the flow region for the natural convection cases by this Rayleigh number. If this Rayleigh number is very big, your free natural convection can become turbulent. If this Rayleigh number is small, it can be laminar. After we define these two similarity function and similar variable, we substitute to that equation, governing equation. We can change the those governing equation to a group of ODEs actually. And we have two ODEs here. We can solve it numerically. And this is some results we can have. Okay, this is where we stop in the last class. And so we will continue from here. One thing, let me change to the today's lecture notes. Okay, so there are also other situations that it's possible to obtain the similarity solution for the natural convection. One case is that when you have vertical plates, but the plate is not either isothermal or iso heat flux. Okay, it's maybe the plate can has a variable surface temperature. One case is we can assume that along this vertical plate here. Remember that in this lecture notes, okay, this is the y direction, and this is x direction. Okay? This is different with the textbook, okay? And I explained the reason why I do this, okay, in the last lecture. So this is x direction, and let's assume that the t of w is a function of x along this x direction, and it's the difference is the temperature variation is follow power law, which means that the wall temperature minus the free stream temperature is equal to a constant of a times this x coordinates to the power of n. N is another constant. And in these cases, and we can still try to derive the similarity solutions. And because this T W minus T infinity is only affect the boundary condition. This is only this wall temperature, variable wall temperature is only a boundary condition changes, okay, compared with the previous one, previous similarity solution. That means is that all you need to do is that let me go back to that previous. Oh, let me go back to our previous nodes. To previous nodes. So this is where we do the similarity solution for the regular isothermal temperature cases of free convection near a vertical plate. And looks like this is how we do derive the equation. This is we're still using the stream function for the u and v, right? And but this non-dimensional temperature theta here is T minus T infinity over TW minus T infinity. Okay, and in these cases, because this T wall will not be a constant temperature anymore, it's a variable temperature along the wall. Let's go back to our case. Okay, so in these cases, we still define that theta equal to, let me find it where I write it. Theta equal to T minus T infinity over T wall minus T infinity. But in these cases, because this T wall minus T infinity is equal to A to power X of N, so this will become T minus T infinity over A X of N. Okay, so this will be the value of theta here. Why need to do this? Because that when you remember that when you put this theta function theta to the governing equation, let me give you an example. The governing equation using the energy one, as an example, it will be so maybe remember we have this u partial t of partial x plus v partial t of partial y equal to r partial square t of partial y square. So this is the energy equation, and u and v will be replaced by the stream function as before. So this is there is no changes for u and v. But when you change this t to this theta here, usually we can do this. Okay, partial t of partial x basically can be equal to this a partial t minus t. Sorry, erase this. We can do this as partial theta of partial x times partial t of partial theta, right? And so and then the different things now is here. This partial theta for this term, partial theta of this partial x term, because that after we change to this eta similarity variable of eta here, eta will be what will be eta will be y over y. We still using eta will y over x for this really number x to 1 over 4, and the partial theta of partial x will be equal to partial theta of partial eta times partial eta of partial x. And is this correct? Partial t, partial x. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I think I understand what I mean here. basically what it means is that because this t, theta is also function of this x to n here. So when you bring this partial t, partial x becomes this partial theta or partial x. Actually, this n will going out if you calculate, you bring this theta here, because this theta itself will be it will be explicit function of n. Okay, this is if you bring this one, you will have your result will be n something. Okay, that's why you have this additional n terms in this brackets here for the final result. You won't see this in the previous cases when you have constant wall temperature. All I want to explain that why we have to have this difference, because that now this theta is the explicit function of x also actually. This is one thing why we have this difference. Okay. And I think and another thing is when you try to derive this equation is that it is on the Rayleigh number part. Remember that when we define this Rayleigh number is equal to g times beta times x to cube and tw minus t infinity divided by mu and alpha. So this is definition of this Rayleigh number. Okay. And you remember that when we define this u, okay, will be equal to partial phi of partial y, right? And this is the phi we have before in the previous page. I just want to explain that why we have. So what's the phi value we define? Phi is phi equal, okay, maybe I write it here. And remember that phi, we define phi will be equal to alpha of f of eta of Rayleigh number or x of 1 over 4, okay? And when you do this u velocity, okay, partial phi, partial y, because that you need to substitute this one to the moment u value to the momentum and v value to the momentum. So definitely, you also need to calculate v equal to minus partial phi of partial x, okay? You need to substitute this velocity from distribution here. And when you have this, especially for this v velocity, when you have this partial phi, partial x, okay, what does this mean? It's like you have this alpha of f eta, and this Reynolds number to the 1 over 4. And this is the definition of Rayleigh number. Okay, so you will have this tw minus t infinity and times this x to the power of 4. Is this correct? Sorry, I don't think I explained this very clearly. But the basic idea is that because right now this is Rayleigh number and is defined by this way, and this tw minus t infinity actually because the wall, this tw, this Rayleigh number tw is not a constant anymore, okay? Because the wall, we know that this tw minus t wall is a function of this axa. So basically you need to replace this one as a of xn, okay? And then you will have x to the 3 plus n, okay? 3 plus n for the x. And when you calculate this v velocity, partial phi, partial x, you will have this additional 3 plus n things, okay? This 3 plus n things. This 3 plus n things is derived from this v velocity you have actually. The v velocity you have here. The v velocity you have here. Okay, that's why you have the difference. just remember that before when you have the constant wall temperature, this one you can be considered constant. This term, you can just bring it out of this derivation when you calculate the wave velocity. And in these cases, you cannot. Okay, so you have to do that. You have to, when you calculate the UV velocity from this stream function, you have to consider this this n exponential related to the x coordinates. So that's why you have this additional n+3 terms here for the v term, and similarly for the u term, and because this is partial phi and partial y term, you will also have some additional terms here. Okay. Anyway, so this will be, in these special cases, you can derive that this stream this similarity solution equations, the ODE, these two ODEs, comparing with the vertical cases. So you have this additional term, and this additional term. What does this mean? It means that if n equal to 0, so that means that T wall minus T infinity will become a constant. That will basically means that this solution will reduce to the previous similarity solution we have, because that when T wall minus T infinity equal to constant, that means that constant wall temperature. Okay, basically the wall temperature is constant. So that is the equation we derived in the last lecture. So in this situation, what I want to say is that basically you can think that this equation is an oversight, okay, oversight of the similarity equation we saw before, okay, for the constant wall temperature. That one is only a special case when n equal to 0. Okay, and the boundary condition is, if we're doing this way, the boundary condition is as following, is same as before, and we can solve this numerically. So this is let me clean this. Okay, I don't think this we need. I don't think I read this clearly, so it's really confusing here. So let me remove this. Okay, so basically the things we need to be careful is that first thing is that the Rayleigh number in these cases, which we defined as G beta x3 T wall minus T infinity divided by mu alpha, can be rewritten as G of beta A of x3 plus n, because this T wall minus T infinity equal to this AXN divided by mu alpha. And because our similarity, because our stream function is defined by phi equal to alpha times f of eta times of this Rayleigh number of x1/4. Okay, and also because this eta value is equal to y/x times Rayleigh number of x to the 1/4. Okay, so if we try to derive this equation, when we try to derive the equation, we do this u equal to partial phi, partial y. And when we do this v of partial phi and partial x, and because this u and v will go to the momentum and summary equations. When you do this partial phi, partial x, basically you are doing, because this phi is also Rayleigh number to 1/4, so it's this number of 3 plus n divided by 4 to the power x. So basically you bring this additional 3 plus n terms, okay? Because that when you try to do this partial phi, partial x, you will have this 3 terms. So you'll have this additional term. This is one thing. And the second thing is that n equal to 0 means that TW equal to constant. Okay, so basically n equal to 0 for these cases is will just the special cases that the equation we have before for the constant wall temperature. So this is the one cases that we can also using the similarity solution for the free convection case. And after you get the solution, and you can calculate the after you obtain these two ODEs for similarity equations. This is ODE 3-order ODE for F, 2nd-order ODE for theta with this 5 boundary conditions. You can numerically solve both F prime, F prime prime, F prime prime prime, and you can solve theta, theta prime, theta prime 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 along the range for as a function of as a function of this theta value. After you solve it, you can calculate the wall heat flux. Okay, basically, what does it mean? This QW prime prime is calculated by minus K partial T and over partial Y at Y equal to 0, right? So this is what we can do, and because we change it to the theta, so basically we can minus K of TW minus T infinity times this is d theta of dy equal to 0. Okay, because that theta times this value will be equal to t, t minus t infinity. And so this is theta prime, and we can additionally write it that this minus k of tw minus t infinity will be d theta of d eta at 0 times d eta of dy. Okay, at 0. Okay, and this value is this theta prime 0 value where this value here, where we get from the numerical solution of the similarity equation ODEs, and this d eta over dy is this additional term here, 1 over x to the Rayleigh number 1 over 4. Okay, and you have this Rayleigh number. Remember the definition of the Rayleigh number. I think it's hard to remember, so let me just rewrite it again. It's a Rayleigh number equal to x equal to g beta x cubed tw minus t infinity divided by mu of alpha. Okay. And after you write this Rayleigh number 1 over 4, write this expression out in this g beta x and tw minus t infinity term, you can get it to here, minus k times theta prime 0, j beta over mu alpha. And you have tw t infinity here, and you also have an additional tw t infinity minus t infinity in this 1 over 4 order of Rayleigh number. So altogether, you will have this to the power of 5 over 4. Okay, and also remember that this tw minus t infinity equal to a of xn, right? This is what we assume. So that's why it means that this will be equal to a to the 5 over 4 and x 5 over 4n, and you have an additional x 1 over x here, and you have x cubed here in the Rayleigh number for the third. So you have x to the minus 1 over 4. Okay, so basically this term give you this x of minus 1 over 4. Okay, so this will be the final solution you got in this situation. In this similarity solution was the heat flux at the plate at any location of x at any location, and all the terms here, they are constant. Okay, all these terms is constant, and the only thing and this we can see that if we assume this wall has this variable temperature to do this power law to n, basically your heat flux along the wall will be changing with x to the power of 5 over 4n minus 1 over 4. And one special case is that when n equal to 1 over 5. What does that mean? Because that when n equal to 105. That means that this term here, 504n minus 104 equal become to 0. So this term we are going to, this term x term we are going to 1. Okay, there's not this term anymore. And then qw prime will only be equal to this constant. That means that if n equal to 105, that means it will give you qw prime equal to constant. Okay. So we can, in these cases, we can also see that okay, this similarity solution is also on oversight of the cases where then the vertical place has a constant heat flux wall boundary condition. When you set 5 equal n equal to 1025, then you will have this QW constant. So basically now we have two special cases, right? When n equal to 0, that should give you the solution to the TW equal to constant. And when n equal to 105, it gives you the solution when QW prime equal to constant. So that's why is this this similarity solution result is interesting, because that it can, can be used for many situations actually. And the second thing we can, from this result, we can know is that if you have for this natural convection, okay, if you have your have a wall, iso heat flux wall, okay, which means that your wall heat flux is constant in the cases. So what will your wall temperature will be in these cases? You can also, derive in this case, in this direction. So if you have this QW prime equal to constant, that means that your T of wall minus T infinity will be proportional to x to the power of 115. Okay. So this will also telling us that if you have constant wall heat flux, your temperature difference between the wall and the free stream will be x to the power of 1 over 5. This is also an important result we can get from here. Okay. Any question here, guys?
Yeah, shouldn't there be an A in that term as well?
Oh, this A is a constant, like a
yeah. When you said TW minus T infinite.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. Oh, I see. It's A of x to the power 1. Yeah. And this A, you can calculate from this when x equals 0 point, right? What is the heat flux will be? What's your initial condition for that? For the wall temperature will be? All right, yeah. When if you set x equal to 0, T will be no. You cannot get A from x to 0. So this A is just some constant you can get given by some conditions actually. All right. Okay, so this is one important cases. Okay, so this power law temperature variance. Why we think this is important, because that is very powerful cases actually. By solving this similarity solution using computer code, you can get a solution for many cases, including two very important cases when the T wall is to constant, when you set n equal to 0, and when you also for the cases when the heat flux is constant, when you set n equal to 1 equal to 5, 1 over to 5. So that's why is that actually, if you find a computer code to solve this similarity solution, people usually is solving this one rather than solving the previous one. Okay, and the second case is where we can also have the similarity solution is that we can make the boundary condition at the wall even a little bit more complicated. Okay, not only the wall temperature is variable, we can also make this wall velocity, this v velocity here, not equal to 0. Like means that we have maybe this wall is a porous media, like they can suck the fluid through it and into it, or it can blow in the fluid outside. So we call this this v velocity, because we're doing this at y direction and this at x direction. In this case, it means v is not 0 at y equal to 0. At the wall, v velocity at the wall is not equal to 0 in this case. Okay. So to do that, okay, we're still using this valve power law for this temperature, because this is general cases, including other cases, and we still do the same phi similarity functions for the stream function, and you can calculate the v velocity equal to minus d phi of dx, which will be equal to this equation here. And one thing we know that the boundary condition is that because u velocity, it can still be 0 at eta at the wall. At the wall means eta equal to 0. That means that f prime 0 will be 0. So basically, when you calculate the v of 0, which means that the v velocity at y equal to 0, so this term can go, because this boundary condition u0 because the f prime 0 equal to 0. This term is 0. Okay. So this will be the v velocity at the wall. This velocity at the wall we want to know will be minus alpha times f0 times d of dx Rayleigh number to the x to the on x to the power of 1/4. Okay. Again, okay, this Rayleigh number is to the x to the 3 plus n, as I explained before, because that the additional temperature term is to a to the power xn. And you bring this together, so this will be final. You can regroup this back to this one, to the Rayleigh number. So your v velocity at the wall, the vertical velocity at the not vertical, okay, the perpendicular velocity at the wall will be equal to this value. And what does this mean? That means that if you want to able to solve this similarity result, we usually require that this to be a constant, v0 equal to constant. Okay, and we require that this f0 equal to be constant. Otherwise, we won't. Otherwise, if this f0 is not constant, we won't able to solve the ODE. Okay, and so to make sure this f0 is to constant, that means that this v0 has to be proportional to this 1 over x to the Rayleigh number to the x of 1/4. Okay, that means that if you have this with this wall suction or wall blowing cases problem, okay, you have this non-zero v velocity at the wall, and if your velocity v0 can changing with this x direction proportional to this 1 over x of Rayleigh number of x 1/4, then this you still have a constant boundary condition for f0. Then that means that you can still solve this governing this ODEs here. You can still solve this ODEs, no problem, because this f prime 0 is still a constant. You know, if it's not constant, you cannot solve it. Okay. Okay. That means that only these cases you can find the similarity solution. Okay. If you are v0, basically v0 is if it's larger than 0, that means blowing, right? Yeah, blowing. And v0 smaller than 0, that means suction. Okay. So if your v0 is like what, for example, is a constant, then you won't able to solve that. You won't able to obtain the similarity solution from this by using similarity method to solve the solution. Okay. So this is the only cases when you have this blowing suction cases that where you can find the similarity solution. And again, okay, in these cases, when you have a suction or blowing, you know, it's only changing the boundary condition. It doesn't change those equation inside. So this is case 2, we still solve the same equation as case 1 here. This equation is also valid for this case 2, because only the boundary condition for V is changing, nothing else is changing actually. Okay. So this is the second case we have the you probably can be able to find the using the similarity solution method to find the exact solution. Okay, the advantage of the similarity solution is we can get exact solution, but exact solution can only be found in very few cases. Okay, not all the cases you can do that. So here we have like 3 cases we can find. One case is that a regular vertical plate with constant wall temperature, constant heat flux. The second case is that we have before with this power law temperature, wall temperature changes. Or the third case is that additionally, if you have this suction, wall suction or blowing, but also this velocity satisfies this condition, so then you can find the similarity solution. Okay. Any question? Okay. Let's continue. The next one is called the effect of thermal stratification. So the basic idea is that when we have this external convection along this vertical plate, it's usually that your environments, your free stream is not in a very large region. It's in a confined region. Like if, for example, if you have a room here, you have a wall here, and you have roof here, and if you have convection, natural convection going up, it will eventually hit some ceiling, okay, on the top. And after it sealing to the top, basically, remember that we know that this delta of T or delta of U basically is proportional to the X of 1/4, right? So basically, that means that your boundary layer natural convection is like 1/4. It keep changing, but it's changing very smallly, okay? But after it hitting to this ceiling wall, it won't able to follow in this X to the 1/4 anymore. So because it has to go this direction, the flow will eventually go this direction, right? After hitting to this ceiling here, if you have additional ceiling here, and if your T, okay, time go to infinity, become longer, what the steady state will be is like when the time going on, more fluids will go into here, more fluid will go into here, and more fluid going into here, more fluid going here, more fluid going here, okay? And these things, okay, this line I draw here is temperature, okay, not velocity. Okay, this is temperature, not the velocity. The velocity, because that you won't able to have the velocity going down because that you have to satisfy that conservation law, mass conservation. So only for the velocity only will be a small film going to this direction, but the temperature will gradually going down because more of heat generated from this wall passing to the air will going to this direction, this y direction. Okay. And what does this mean? That means that in a steady cases, it will looks like you have a wall here, but your free stream, your wall temperature will be definitely larger than the. In this case, your wall temperature will larger than free stream temperature, right? At the bottom, this is at the bottom. This is 0. This is H, okay. And in the cases, okay, because this on this direction, temperature is changing. Temperature is increasing on the free stream. It looks like your free stream, this T infinity here, is not a constant anymore, okay? It's like your T infinity will proportional to this X direction. So this is Y or this is X. Because you have this roof here. And they call this effect called stratification. And it's due to that if you have a ceiling on the top, okay? And if you for a very long time, and then that means that the temperature is actually this wall temperature will also affect this free stream temperature, make this free stream temperature behavior like high free stream temperature on the top and the low stream temperature on the bottom. And to make the problem simple, we can just assume this temperature variation on this x direction as a linear case, which means that we can assume that the free stream temperature is our linear function changed with x actually. T infinity, which is not a constant anymore, a function of x on this direction, will be this 0 value at the very bottom, plus this gamma times x. This is gamma. Gamma is a constant. That's what is assumed constant. Okay, that's we assume we know this gamma. So this is effect of called thermal stratification. Well, what does this mean? This means that if we want to consider this effect, right, we won't need to do anything for the governing equation because governing equation is still same as before. But the only difference is that when you, for example, if you want to see using similarity, right, when you want to deal with this T minus infinity of T minus T infinity, this T infinity will not be a constant anymore, it will be a function of X. So that, when you try to derive that similarity equations, you will also need to consider when you do the X direction derivative, this cannot be constant anymore. Or you can also using the, if we do not want to using the similarity, we still using the, integral solution as before, like the integral solution. This is a simple form of the integral solution, where that we will assume the boundary layer thickness for the delta and delta t is the same. Okay, so you see that it's the same. We still assume the same form as before. Okay, the only difference is that this equation here, t equation here, you need to change this t infinity to this t infinity 0 minus gamma x. Okay, and you bring this equation into the momentum equation, integral momentum momentum integration and energy integral equation. You have two unknowns. You are able to actually solve the. You are able to still solve the problem. Okay, and this is some solutions that can be for this one. Okay, and when the prime number is going to infinity, and you got this the average Nussel number between 0 to h, if we come to 0.324. And you can compare this Nussel number with the cases of the cases when prime number going to infinity and you do not have the stratification number. So we can know that thermal stratification. So you can see that with this thermal stratification, actually your heat transfer rate actually is reduced actually, because that your temperature gradient between the wall and the free stream actually is reduced. So what is the, let me find using our previous note to find that what the Nussel number without stratification effect. Okay, so without stratification, Nussel number will be Nu equal to 0.783 Rayleigh number of is this Nussel? No, this is not average value. So what's the average value? Okay, so it's 0.671. Okay, not Newton, so 0.671 Rayleigh number to the 1 over 4. Okay, so this is a without stratification. Okay, this thermal stratification. Stratification. Okay, and so you can compare with this two. you see that this the coefficient is reduced from this 0.671 to 0.324. Okay, the reason is very simple, is because that if you see this stratification, you see that without stratification, it will be everything will the free stream will be just this vertical line, right? This vertical line here, and with stratification, it will be this this line here with the slope. And you can see that definitely with this, when you have this slope, the average temperature difference between the free stream and wall temperature is smaller compared with this with this vertical line, which is without the some stratification case actually. Okay. Let's play. Okay. So this is an important result. It's like telling us that you know, if your free stream is not really free, okay, is if you know your air is in some kind of enclosed region. Actually, due to this thermal stratification effects, your heat transfer rate due to the natural convection is substantially reduced actually. Like this one is like reduced by 50%. It's a lot actually. Okay. All right. And the next topic is the inclined wall. Previous previous slides, we focus on all the previous lectures for this natural convection. We focus on the natural convection along a vertical plate. Now it's not a vertical plate. It's an inclined plate. We have an angle here. We have this angle theta. Okay. We have this angle theta here. So what should we do? And this, if the theta equal to 0, definitely it will be the just vertical cases, right? And now its theta is not 0. Okay. For the inclined cases, natural convection for inclined plate, we need to be very careful. The reason is that we also need to consider that if this convection is downward facing or upward facing. Why? Okay. For this case, okay, I'm using this picture as example. This is called a downward facing heated surface. That means heated surface means that your wall temperature is larger than your free stream temperature, right? So the temperature for the wall is higher. We know that when you have a higher temperature along the wall, basically the density of the air, if we assume this free stream fluid is air, okay, the free stream fluid density actually will be reduced along the wall, right? Along the wall, and the reduced density fluid will try to moving up. That's why we have this boundary layer formed here, and the fluid actually is moving on this up direction actually. What does it mean? This means that in these cases, your buoyancy, B-O-Y-A-N-C-Y, buoyancy force is orientated toward to the plate. In these cases, you can see that the fluid is trying to moving up, right? That means that your buoyancy force is on going up on this direction, right? In this case, this is buoyancy minus rho of g, right? This is your buoyancy effects. No, beta. What's the buoyancy? The buoyancy term is g beta t times the. Ready? So G beta T minus T infinity. Okay, so your buoyancy direction is going up. So actually it's going to the place. And the place, all the fluids will be pushing to the, because natural convection, right? Your fluid is pushing to this plate. That's why you can form this a stable, so-called boundary layer, free convective boundary layer. And in this cases, actually, this will give you a very steady convective free convective boundary layer. Okay. For the second cases, this is called the upward facing. Upward facing means that the face where you have this natural convection is upper of the upper plate is this side, not the bottom side. And also because it's a cooled surface. The cooled surface means that your wall temperature is smaller than the free stream temperature. Okay, and you're cooling the fluid, right? And actually try to making the fluid, density become heavier here, and the fluid is try to moving down. Okay, and in these cases, your buoyancy, this G of beta T minus T infinity actually is going down. Actually, it's also toward this plate, actually pushing the fluid, pushing the free stream to this plate, so that you can form this boundary layer. Okay, so that's why we see that this boundary layer is steady, because that we know that when you're pushing a fluid to a plate, definitely you will form a steady film boundary layer here. Okay, so this is the cases when we have this downward facing heated, upward facing cooled. But if we have this downward facing cooled, or we have this upward facing heated, what will happen? That will be the next page. Let me show you. In these cases, okay, you have the heated upward facing, meaning that your wall is larger than your free stream. Okay, and you try to because your wall is heated, right? So you try to give the buoyancy force on the top, because the fluid will try to move up, right? You're heated. So this will be G of beta T minus T infinity. So what does it mean? That means that your buoyancy force, is orientated. No, I'm not good at writing here. Orientated from the plane. Not actually, it's not like this like the previous cases where your buoyancy forces try to push the fluid into the plate. Now you try to push the fluid, leaving the plate. So what will happen? That will happen is that if this the temperature difference between your wall and free stream is large, okay, if it's T wall, minus this T infinity is large, you will have strong force of buoyancy effect, and you will have this this like disruption structure, like maybe at some point suddenly they will just going out here, all the fluid going out here due to this disruption, and some fluid going out due to another disruption. So it will basically cause disruption for boundary layer. Okay. So very complicated problem. So this case become very complicated. And similar things in this one. This is so-called cooled downward facing which means that you know, your wall temperature is cold, actually cooler than the free stream, and your buoyancy force is going down. You try to let the fluid going down because the density around the wall is big, actually. So this will be G beta T minus T infinity. And similar thing in these cases, you see that this force, actually buoyancy force, is try to, you know, push the fluids leaving from the plate. And also you can cause this disruption for this boundary layer, free convection boundary layer, if this wall temperature much smaller than the free stream temperature. Okay, so these two cases basically give you not a film like a boundary layer, but this disruptive boundary layer thickness. Okay, so that's why it's, for this inland wall cases, we need to be careful. Okay, it's more complicated than the vertical plate. You need to know that you know, is the cases that your buoyancy forces is pushing the fluid toward to the plate, or you know, your buoyancy forces is try to push the fluid from the your plate. Okay, and for these cases where you have this steady free convective boundary layer, you know, it's much more simpler, easy to solve compared to the other case, actually. And one immediately example people doing is that if this theta value is not big, let's see that this theta value is much smaller than 60 degrees. It's smaller than 60 degrees. And we can still using this boundary layer. This is the boundary layer equation for the vertical plate cases. Okay, but only changing the G to the G cosine theta. Okay, so if you compare this governing equation to the vertical plate cases, this is the only difference. We replace the gravity G to the G cosine theta because you can just you can decompose this G, right, to two directions, this direction or this direction, right, or this direction, vertical direction here, and basically only this direction plate which is parallel to the plate. So this is this one. Okay, it's too small here. Maybe I didn't draw. I should not draw this way. Okay. So basically you can decomposing this G gravity vector to the two directions. One direction will be parallel to the plate, one direction to the perpendicular to the plate, and the parallel component to the plate will be this G cosine theta. Okay, and this can be used to just replace the cases. All right, so this is the idea, like the vertical plate solution can be applied to inclined plates, okay, with G replaced by G cosine theta. And but remember that this approximation, okay, is only working when theta is small. Usually speaking, people think that theta smaller than 60 degrees is a good, you know, good situation that where you can do using this method. And why? Because that even actually, generally speaking, okay, you see that we have this continuity equation, and the second equation is the momentum equation on this u direction, right? X direction. So X direction is here. Basically, is the plate direction. And actually, we also have another v direction momentum, right? And because that this G gravity has two components, right? One component will be the component parallel on X direction, right? You will also have a G component on the Y direction. Actually, because this inclined angle theta, your V momentum equation will also be changed. Actually, we will also have like this partial P of partial y plus, sorry, not plus, minus g sin theta equal to 0. Okay. In these cases, this is important. Remember that in this three equation, why we neglect the wave momentum equation? Because that in the vertical place, okay, in the vertical place, your wave momentum equation just equal to partial p, partial y equal to 0. And this telling us that p is only a function of x, right? And that's why is that you know, we can have this change this partial p, partial x, yeah, to the dp dx, right? And then this will be using the Bernoulli equation. We related this p to some rho infinity, to rho infinity term, and with this rho infinity term, with this Bosniak approximation, we finally got this beta times t minus t infinity, right? Okay, but now if in this inclined cases, actually your wave momentum equation actually is not this partial p partial y equal to 0 anymore, because you also have this g sin theta component here, and you actually this will bring some error to this approximation, because this in this approximation method we use here, we just using g cosine theta to replace the vertical equation. Basically, we still assume this partial p partial y equal to 0. Okay, we still, this has to be very small. Okay, this can working, and that's why is that the theta had to be very small. Otherwise, the error causing from this v direction momentum will become very big. That in this case, when theta is very large, your partial p partial y cannot be 0 anymore, and your p will not only a function of x, but also a function of y. Your problem become 2D, and our momentum equation cannot be solved analytically actually, because 2D cases you won't be able to do that actually. Okay, so that's to tell you that why these cases, only working when theta is very relatively small, because when theta is big, you will have error actually. So this is the cases when you have this buoyancy forces is orientated toward to the plate. And okay, for these two cases, okay, we will, when you have buoyancy forces orientated from the plate, not to the toward to the plate. Okay, try to leaving the plate. We can also study the effect of theta. Okay, so when theta, in this case, when theta becomes smaller, okay, and if the problem will be more close to the vertical plate cases, right? So you won't able to see this because if theta become like let's assume theta is a small value, right? For example, like a theta will be just 1 degree. It's almost the vertical plate, okay? And if it's a vertical plate, you won't have this disruption here, because that it will just like a vertical plate, it will forming boundary layer, small film like a boundary layer, just moving fluid to upward or moving fluid downward in this case, okay? And that means that usually, okay, we can also using this 60 degree as a rule that can see that when theta is small, okay, it will be maybe still close to the vertical cases, that the boundary layer is remain stable, and we do not see this interruption here, okay, and so that we can still using vertical place, simplified replacing g with g constant theta. This is the case because when theta small, you won't have this interruption, and it will be close to the vertical plate cases. But when theta is large, okay, you won't have this stable boundary layer anymore. You have these disruptions, and you won't be able to using this strategy anymore. Okay, just replace theta to G cosine theta in that previous correlation. Okay. Let me remove this. So this is for the inclined cases. So for both of these two cases, okay, maybe we can see 4 cases, okay, downward forcing heated, upward facing cooled, upward heated. If the theta is small, basically in overall, okay, we can see that in both of these four cases, if theta is smaller than 60 degrees, we can just replace you know, G to the G cosine theta in this boundary condition, and then a boundary governing equation. Then we can using either momentum method, integral method, or similarity method to get the solution for inclined wall actually. So this is the inclined wall. Any questions?
No.
Okay. This, okay. And the next one is horizontal plates actually. Similar to inclined walls actually. This is horizontal. Basically means that this in this case, theta will be 90 degree in previous inclined wall actually. We can also have several cases. In this one, we will have 6 cases. Okay, we have 4 in this slide, and we will also have 4 in other slides actually. Okay, so this is for the horizontal cases. It basically means that the problem become even more complicated than the inclined one. Okay, let's first still look in this cooled upward facing. This cooled upward facing. Okay, so for these cases, okay, this is still the cases where you have, you know, buoyancy force. Or is orientated toward to plate. Okay. All these 4 cases is orientated to the plate. So basically means that is in our client wall cases, that means that you are, you know, you get the steady convective boundary layer. But in these cases, we also have another things, another parameter to determine which case will be. It will be that the wall temperature minus the free stream temperature. If this difference is very small, well, not very small, it's moderate, okay, not too big, then what will be, okay? You have this free stream here, T infinity, and you have this wall. This is cooled upward facing, which means that your T wall is smaller than T infinity, and this will be a buoyancy force, okay, buoyancy. B-O-Y-A-N-C-Y, okay. Point force is going toward to the plate, and because it's cool, the temperature around the plate is cool. So basically, the fluid around the plate has a higher density, so the fluid will try to going down, okay, and then it forms this small film-like layer, and it will be symmetry in the middle. And on the left, the fluid will go into the flowing away from the left side until to the edge of the plate. On the right, the flow will fluid to the right direction, and it's also leaving the plate at the end of the edge, at the plate edge, at the edge of the plate. Okay, and so this is looks very stable cases, and the second one is just a reverse direction. Like if the T wall is larger than T infinity, is heated, and is downward, so that the buoyancy direction is on this one, B-U-O-Y-A-N-C-Y, and your flow is pushing to the plate due to this buoyancy effect, and you also similar than the left one, you form a small film of boundary layer, and its symmetry in the middle. It's going left on the left half, of the plate, and it's going right to the right half of the plate. Okay, this is when the your wall temperature and the free stream temperature, the temperature difference is not too big. Okay, but if your wall temperature and the free stream temperature the difference is very large, that means that the effects of natural convection is also very large. Okay, because we know the temperature difference is the driving force for the heat transfer, right? And so basically, the larger the wall temperature minus the stream temperature, you have more fluids that are more likely to going down in these cases, or more fluids going up in these cases. Okay, so this case is the same thing as this one. This case is the same thing as one, but only because you have larger temperature difference. And in these cases, okay, you will have this like in the textbook they call this like a liquid ball like a structure. They call this like a liquid ball. They didn't call this disruption. They call that some it's not like a smooth film like this one, but it will have this like a because more fluid want to come out, so it's not steady. The surface is not steady anymore. But all this liquid ball, the direction is still going down. Okay, the fluid is going down, the fluid going down, fluid going down. So you have this unsteady form of the boundary layer region. Similar thing to this one, that because more if you increase this temperature difference, more fluid are try to go into the plate, and you will form this kind of liquid ball here, and and moving the stream, moving fluid to top. Okay, let's see what I'm missing. Okay. All right, so let me write down something. So in these cases, so we can write solution when Tw minus T infinity is moderate. Okay. Thin film of dense fluids can be formed. In these cases, when this become very large, the fluid field will consist of sinking force of dense fluids. And the flow field become more complicated. Okay. Now, this is cases where the buoyancy forces is oriented toward to the plate. Now, in these cases, okay, in these four cases, although that based on the different temperature difference, maybe you have different, looking of this boundary layer region. There's empirical correlations where you can help you to calculate the average Nussbaum number. So what's the special thing of the convection over flat plate? Okay, not convection, free convection. For free convection over flat plate, or you can see the horizontal plate. It's maybe it's more accurate. In this case, what's the special thing that? What's the special thing? The special thing is that there is no gravity component along the plate direction, plate surface direction. Okay. So this is a special thing which means that in this case, because theta will be 90 degree compared with that inclined wall, cosine theta, cosine 90. What you got? You got a 0 actually. That means that your buoyancy term will be disappear if you're still using the governing equation we have before. And definitely that is not correct because we still have the buoyancy force. Okay, that means that the boundary condition, the governing equation we developed in last class, and it will not working for this horizontal plate anymore at all actually. And all those similarity solution, integral solution will not working because that the governing equation itself, that boundary layer governing equation itself is not working for this case. And the problem is become very complicated, and we cannot get the analytical solution from it. But the good thing is that we are engineering people. When we cannot get the analytical solution, we can still provide useful information by doing experiments, right? So we have the empirical correlations for these cases where people, previous researchers, they got this, they do the experiments and they derive this equation based on their experimental data. What is telling is that for the flat plate, okay, free convection on the flat plate, and if the buoyancy force is oriented towards to the plate, your Nussbaum number, and the Nussbaum number is Nussbaum number Nu of LC is defined by H of L of C over K, okay? And H is film coefficient, okay, or alpha, convective heat transfer coefficient. LC is defined by OA over P, and A is the surface area of the plate, and P is the parameter of this surface area A, okay? And is defined as this one, and will be equal to 0.27 times Rayleigh. How to pronounce this one? Rayleigh number. Okay, let's just call it Rayleigh number to the power of 1 over 4. And also remember that in this Rayleigh number is also defined by this parameter LC, this length scale LC here. Okay, and this Rayleigh number LC will be equal to definition of the Rayleigh number. Okay, J beta will be G beta T wall minus T infinity. If T wall is larger than T infinity, okay. If it's smaller, you need to write inverse for this LC to the cube of mu alpha. Okay, this is definition. And important things for all the empirical correlations is that because we know that this correlation is derived from the experimental data, so that means that this correlation is only valid for the conditions, performed in those experiments. Okay, so this in these cases, this equation is only working on this Rayleigh number between 10 to power 5 to the 10 to power 10. Okay, this is one important thing for all the empirical correlations, correlations, because they are deriving on the experimental data. They are not deriving by solving some governing equations. So they usually only working for those conditions. And if you are using some empirical correlations to some problem where the condition is out of range of the validation range of the original correlations, usually it will give you very big errors. Okay. So that means that this is only working for this one. So if your Rayleigh number is much smaller than this value or much larger than this value, you're still using this equation. It will give you a very big error actually for you. So this is the special things of the empirical correlations. Just be careful of the their flow condition range. Okay, and the second case is where you have those the buoyancy force is orientated from the plate. Okay, so in this case, this is where the buoyancy force, and in this case, this is where the buoyancy force. Okay, right. And in this case, the problem become more complicated if you look in the flow field. Okay, why? Because that not only in this case, because its buoyancy force is not pushing the fluid to the plate, then it try to pushing the fluid leaving the plate. It will make this flow region with this unsteady structure. Not only this unsteady structure, but also that the flow direction in this interruption region, okay, or you call this sinking ball, is also changes. Like in this region, it's going up. In this region, it's going down. In this region, it's going up. In this region, it's going down. Okay, it's like it's creating a vortex. Creating a vortex here, creating a vortex and creating a vortex here, going this direction, and creating a vortex here, and creating a vortex here. Creating vortex on each this ball-like structures actually. Similar things to this cooled downward facing is like in this one, it's going up, but in this one it's going down here, it's going up here. So you have this circulation region formed. In this, the things is very so. The thing you need to notice that is that the direction of the plumes is not uniform. Okay, it's going up, going down. It's not uniform in these cases. And in this case, in this situation, we also have the empirical correlations based on previous researchers' publications actually. And they are working only for the constant water temperature condition, not working for the constant heat flux cases. In this one, if the Rayleigh number is between 10 to power 5 or 10 to 7, you can use in this equation, Nussel number to the powerful 1/4 of Rayleigh number times the constant. Or when your Rayleigh number become bigger, actually this is actually more like a transition regime, okay? So the flow be beginning transfer from laminar to turbulence, or even become turbulent, and then your Nussel number will become 0.15 times Rayleigh number to power 1/3. So you see that this power is changing from 1/4 to 1/3. So this is another empirical correlation for these cases. Okay, so overly speaking, okay, so in summary, for this natural convection on horizontal plates, actually, the things, if you look in the flow field patterns, it will become more complicated because that, for these steady cases, you have depend on the temperature difference, you have even different flow structures. But overall, you can still using very simple empirical correlations to calculate the Nussel number based on the Rayleigh number. And after you calculate the Nussel number, you can calculate this film coefficient based on this Nussel number with this length scale and this fluid thermal conductivity. You got this film coefficient, you know the wall temperature because it's given, and you also know the free stream temperature, right? So basically, you can calculate the Q prime prime equal to H of T wall minus T infinity, or T infinity minus T wall, depends on which is bigger. So with this empirical correlation, you can easily calculate the heat transfer rate between the plate and the free stream due to the natural convection. Any question?
No.
Okay, I think so. That's a big. So that's the note the difference here. Okay, for the other problem we have this vertical place, inclined place. We derive solution based on our analytical analysis on the governing equations. We derive the solution based on the using to try to solve equations numerically by similarity solution, or analytically by using integral solution. But for this flat plate, all these equations is not from governing equation, it's just from the experimental data. So this is one important thing you need to know. We also have other situations that you may have these empirical correlations rather than you have those analytical results. Okay, one example is the natural convection on submerged bodies. Like for example, like think about this like a sphere or a cylinder, okay, very long cylinder in the cross-sectional area view, okay, and this sphere or cylinder has a diameter d, and also that you have this has wall temperature Tw is larger than T infinity, so that causing the fluid form a small free convection film, try to make it going up, and the two streams on the left and the right will merge in the middle and try to going up. And they will have, in these cases, we also want to know that what is the Nussel number will be, because we want to calculate, usually for the free convection, we want to calculate the heat transfer rate. Okay. For the long horizontal isothermal cylinder, isothermal means that your wall temperature is constant. Isothermal means T wall equal to constant. Okay. You have several equations you can do. The first simple equation that the average Nussel number. So the Nussel number is defined by d. Okay, this d is the diameter of this sphere. Sorry, this cylinder. And if you see times the Rayleigh number, also defined based on the cylinder diameter and to a power n. Both c and n will be a constant, and this constant can be found in this table here. For different range of Rayleigh number, you can have different value of c and n. Okay, and so this give you an easy way that to estimate that what's the heat transfer rate when you have a free convection around this very long horizontal isothermal cylinder. This is method one. This is the method one you can use. Or the second one you can use in this equation here. This equation is more advanced because is more accurate because that is also including the effect of the Prandtl number. Because we know that actually Prandtl number will affect the free convection actually. So you can see the Prandtl number is a function, is a parameter inside this empirical correlation, and this correlation is divided by this by Churchill and true. And you see that the Nussbaum number will be a function of a Rayleigh, both a Rayleigh number and a Prandtl number. It's only working for when this Rayleigh number is smaller than 10 to the power 12. Okay, this is the horizontal cylinder cases. But if it's not a cylinder, okay, it's just a sphere. Okay, that circle in the previous picture is not cylinder, it's a sphere. It's also with a diameter d. You can use this correlation. It's close to the that correlation from Churchill and true, because it is also divided by Churchill. So that's the reason that you see that you can see that the form of the equation is similar, and but this one you do not have this power to the square at the end, and also that some parameters is different actually. So for this sphere cases, isothermal sphere, which is wall temperature is constant for sphere. This correlation is only working for Prandtl number is larger than 0.7. You know, 0.7 is usually the Prandtl number of air, okay? And larger than 0.7, that means that for all the liquid cases and the air and the things heavier than air, the gas heavier than air, it can working actually. And also it's working for Rayleigh number is smaller than only working for Rayleigh numbers for smaller than this range. So we have this two cases, right? This one for the cylinder, and this one for the sphere. And there's also another equation to make. They call the Jovanovic correlation. This makes the things become even more, you know, this correlation can even working for more geometries of the submerged blunt bodies. Okay, it can be, you know, and the average Nussbaum number will become average Nussbaum number when this Rayleigh number going to 0. So this will be a constant here, and also that 0.67 times another constant g of L of C. L of C is still defined as before. No, sorry, not defined as before. This is definition of L of C. This is square root of the overall surface area of heat transfer. Okay, and the Rayleigh number is defined is also based on the LC here equation. And these two parameters, these two constants, this g value and this limit value, when the Rayleigh number equal to 0, can be found from the table here. This table is also in your textbook. So for sphere, you get this will be 3.545, and g of LC you count 1.023. So if you substitute these two numbers to this equation, you basically will reproduce this equation here. So that's a Churchill's correlation. Okay, you will reproduce it. And if it's some other cases, bisphere is like this one. You have two spheres, you know, molded together, or you have cube. If you have a cube 1, 2, 3, this cube 1, 2, 3 basically just like you know, how you orientate it, or you know, place this cube, you know, orient this cube corresponding to the gravity direction. Like in this one, it just the gravity is from this surface top to this one, but this one has some angle. This one has another angle. Okay, so you have different values here. So it's just some empirical correlations here. All right. So okay. Do you guys have any question? Because so this is basically always starting from this horizontal place cases. You know, we weren't able to get the analytical results, but you know, we just present some empirical results for the flat place. Flat place had two cases. Okay, one is the buoyancy forces towards to the plate, and another case is the buoyancy forces from the plate. You have two different correlations, and also you have this submerged bodies for long cylinder and for sphere, and even for more general cases actually. All these equations are empirical correlations. Questions? Okay. Let me see the time. Okay, we have 1 hour to go. So if you guys have any question, just talk to me directly, okay? I want this lecture can be more interactive because I cannot see you, so I don't know. I cannot see from your face, okay, to know that whether or not you understand it or not. You it's like a black box to me that whether or not you what the reaction of you to what I'm talking about. So if you have anything, you want to ask me, you can just interrupt me, anytime. Okay. And the last, this will be the last problem for the external convection. But this problem is kind of special. It's a free convection inside a vertical channel flow. Inside a vertical channel, basically means that you have two vertical plates. One is on the left and one is on the right. And you have the free convection between the gap of these two plates. The textbook, okay, our textbook puts this into the chapter of external natural convection. I understand why the author do this, because that he's thinking that okay, you on the left hand side you have vertical plate, on the right hand side you have vertical plate. This you put them together is just lacking like you have two natural convection along the vertical plate. They can couple into each other. So basically the solution will be related to the solution of those vertical plate external convection cases. But there is a problem here. Actually, in these cases, it's not really a external natural convection because it's a channel flow. Channel flow or pipe flow, we usually thinking about it as an internal flow rather than an external flow. So although it's in this the author put this problem into this chapter, it really has more characteristics of the internal natural convection problem, which we will go through in the next chapter. But because the author put it here, so we also just try to do it here. So we have two plates and flow through in between these two plates, in the gaps of these two plates. The two plates has the same temperature, wall temperature, T wall on the left and T wall on the right. And the gap I said is as a W. And if this W is very big, if the gap between the two plates is very large, okay, maybe those natural convection effects on the left one will not affect the natural convection on the right one. Okay, you see this dashed line, right? You can think this dashed line just like the boundary layer thickness, the natural convection boundary layer thickness we derived for those vertical plate natural convection cases. Let's assume that this gap is larger than the max of the two times of max of delta or delta t, either of them, which means that there's no overlapping region of the boundary layer from the left or boundary layer from the right. There's no overlapping region. And if you draw the u velocity, it will, on the left one, you see that the natural convection constant velocity going up, and then it almost reach to the zero when it's going out to this boundary layer. And on the right, then it's going to the boundary layer of the right wall. The velocity increasing again due to the natural convection, and it reduced to the wall, zero to the wall. Similar to the thermal boundary layer for these cases, the wall temperature will reduce to the free stream temperature, T infinity here, when in the region outside of the thermal boundary layer, and again it will increase to the wall temperature in this thermal boundary layer region. This is the cases when you have no overlapping boundary layers between the left and the right. But if the gap spacing W is smaller than this value, that means that you will form the boundary layer from the left place and the boundary layer from the right place. They will overlap. Okay, and what they will overlap will looks like is making it like if you're looking the velocity, if you're thinking that this is a velocity field, if you're thinking that is fully developed, basically is that it will keep increasing from the wall, and going to the center line, it will reach it to the maximum value. Okay, and then it reduces again to the other side of the wall. Okay, if you're looking the temperature field for the fully developed cases, and this temperature field will keep increase, and the wall has if the TW is larger than the T infinity, the wall temperature is higher, so it will reduce to the minimum value in the middle. Okay, and then it will increase again to the other side of the wall. Okay, and this shape, it looks close to the shape of what we saw in those fully developed pipe flow. The boundary, the fully developed pipe flow was a temperature distribution, was a velocity distribution, and that is why I think that this is really like an internal flow rather than external flow. Okay, this is the fully developed region, and we also have an entrance effect. Okay, because that if you see this dashed lines, right, this the boundary layer thickness, they are increasing with x direction, right? Remember that we're saying that if it's a vertical plate, this one, if this x direction, we know that this delta t or delta is proportional to x to the power 1/4. It's increasing. Okay, so if we draw this two plates here, and it's increasing here, and this is boundary layer thickness is increasing here. No, and to this point, this is the two boundary layer thicknesses, they merge, they join together, and at this region point, we call this length here, we can call this entrance length x of t, because I call it t is thermal because I assume this is a thermal boundary layer. Or if you can also, if you have the velocity boundary layer they join, you can have x of u instead. Okay. So this is the cases when the gap between the two plates is small and the boundary layer really can overlap, so that they can eventually form a fully developed region. And this fully developed region, is only meaningful that if your overall h, the h is plate height, okay, is larger than x of t, right? If your h is smaller than x of t, the whole flow region is developing, okay, the entrance region, you won't be able to have this fully developed, okay, so fully developed region exists. Okay. And because it's well, we only consider the fully developed cases, okay? Because fully developed cases is much more easy to solve, as we already know, for those flow inside the pipe, right? Those force convection inside the pipe. So we assume it's fully developed. Fully developed usually means that you won't have the v velocity. This is x direction. This is y direction. V velocity is this horizontal direction. You won't have v velocity, and you also won't have the because it's fully developed. So for velocity vector on the x direction, on this x direction, this u will be fixed. It won't change with the x direction. It's only this u is only changing on this y direction for velocity. So you bring this assumption into this x momentum. So basically it means that this term can gone because v has to be 0, and this term can gone because partial u partial x equal to 0. Okay, and also that this partial u of partial x squared can gone because this is constant. Okay. And if you do the y momentum equation, it's a similar thing to what we got before. Basically, it just give you that the partial p partial y equal to 0, which means that the pressure is only function of x. And if you equate it with a Bernoulli equation for the free stream, it can come to this value. And you bring this one to this dp dx here, and also combine this term and with this term here. You will have this g of rho minus rho infinity minus g rho infinity, and this one you're using that Bosnick correlation. You can become by that t minus t infinity of g. Okay, so basically in the end, your x momentum equation will become to this one. This is the final equation you have. We can solve this equation for velocity if we know t minus t infinity profile. We can solve this u directly, right? Because we have two boundary conditions already known. At the wall, there's no velocity. At the middle is symmetry, so it's du dy equal to 0. So the problem is that this momentum equation is coupled with this temperature term. And if we really want to know this temperature term, we also need to try to solve the energy equation, right? So in ideal cases, okay, ideal case, t and t minus t infinity is solved from energy equation. Okay, but if you have energy equation, because energy equation also contains the velocity terms, so basically you have two coupling equations, velocity and energy. So you need to solve them together. So this makes the problem complicated to solve. One simple way to do this is one simple solution to do this is that we just do some approximation. We just assume that this t minus t infinity is just equal to t1 minus t infinity. What does this mean? This means that so this region, okay, this line here is really the t profile. So this is a t profile, t minus t wall, right? So because this length is the wall, so t minus t wall basically is just this small gaps between this black curve and this horizontal line. Okay. And if we assume that this small gap is very small, okay, so which means that the whole t profile is very close to the t wall. So this profile along this profile is very close to this wall value of t. Okay, that means that we can just assume that t minus t infinity just equal to t1 minus t infinity. Okay, and this implement this meaning that t wall minus t is much smaller than t wall minus t infinity. Okay, basically this means that this gap is very small. Okay, basically what that means, this is small gaps between this curved line and to this horizontal line. This region is very small. Okay, by doing this assumption, okay, t minus t infinity equal to tw minus t infinity, you go to this equation, so this becomes tw, so this becomes constant, and this second order ODE, and this is that constant term, non-homogeneous term, so you can just solve it directly. with this assumption. So that's why we say that this is a simple solution, because it's due to this very crude assumption we made. And we can integrate that equation twice on y direction. So we can solve the velocity profile with those boundary conditions. We can with boundary condition, okay, we can remove those constants when you do the integration. So this is the velocity results for this case. And after you got the velocity results, you can calculate this m dot. This m dot is really not the same m dot we saw before. So this is the mass flow rate per unit length per unit length normal to the plane. Normal to the plane. Okay. So what does it mean? This means that you have this u, and you just to integrate rho times u along this y direction. You can calculate the just do this m dot equal to rho of u of a time, sorry, not a, from minus w over 2 to plus w over 2 times dy. Okay, and this unit length normal to the plane means that because that we only integrate on y, right? So if you want to integrate on area, so there should be some direction, z direction, okay, on the perpendicular direction. There should be some z direction perpendicular to this paper, okay, perpendicular to the screen. That unit length, so that you can have area. So what does this mean? So basically, this solution, this m dot, the unit you got basically is kilogram second per meter. Okay, this is the m dot. Okay, and then after you got the m dot, you can calculate the heat transfer rate. So heat transfer rate can be just easily calculated based on the energy balance. So you can calculate the this is called the average heat flux, and its units is also it's not average heat. Maybe let me rewrite it. This is not correct. This is the heat flow rate per average. Okay, average the heat flow rate per unit length. Length normal to the plane. Okay. And it derived as this Q prime is actually m dot of enthalpy. Okay. I do not want to using h, because using small h sometimes is we will get conflicted with those film coefficients. So just maybe write the enthalpy of inlet minus enthalpy of outlet. Okay, so that's why you get this Cp Tw minus T infinity. And the unit for this one is watt per meter. Okay, and that's why you only have one prime here. It's one prime here, right? Usually just one prime means per length. Okay, two prime means that per area. You have two prime means 2d per heat flux on the length here. So that's why you have single prime here. And then after you get this one, you can calculate this is the heat transfer rate, right? If you can calculate heat flux, average heat flux basically is that your the heat transfer rate divided by the contact heat transfer area. And in this case, it's because you need a vertical length, so it will be the heat transfer area will be this wall length here plus this wall length here. You have two wall lengths here, so that's the reason is divided by 2h. Okay, so that's this q prime prime over h is the average heat flux. Heat flux, and its unit is a watt per meter square. Okay. After you have the average heat flux, you can define the average Nussbaum number, right? Nussbaum number, we know that this Nussbaum number h can be defined as the heat transfer coefficient, average heat transfer coefficient times h over k, right? And this h average heat transfer coefficient can be defined as this heat flux, average heat flux divided by temperature difference, Tw minus T infinity, and to replace the h, right? And basically h is q prime prime 0 to h divided by Tw minus T infinity. Okay. And you put this one, so starting from this m dot result here, this one you into here, you substitute this m dot to q prime, you substitute q prime to this q double prime, and you substitute this q double prime to this Nussbaum number correlation. So your final result will be the Rayleigh number over 24. Okay. And this is valid only when xt smaller than h, which means that this is only valid for the fully developed region. This means that fully developed region, okay, is only working for fully developed region. So this, by using this simple approximation, okay, very crude approximation, we just assume the temperature profile, temperature difference is a constant for the fully developed case. It's just equal to T1 minus T infinity. And you will just get this important correlation that the average Nussbaum number will be equal to Rayleigh number divided by 24. But one important thing you need to know that is that this Nussbaum number here is defined based on h, and this Rayleigh number here is defined based on w. Okay, this is very rare cases. Okay, I see that you know in the same equation, but using different length scale to define the dimensionless parameter. For Nussbaum number, we're using h as the length scale to define this Nussbaum number, and in the this Rayleigh number, we're using gap w, between the two places to define this Rayleigh number. This is very rare cases. I saw this actually, because usually before we see that Nussbaum number is a function of Reynolds number or something, or Nussbaum number is a function of Rayleigh number, something. In previous cases, we usually have using the same length scale, but this one, it does a different length scale. Maybe it does because that by using this way, this expression can look very, very short. Okay, looks very clean. Okay. So let me make it clear maybe. Then U of H is defined based on H, and this RAW is defined based on W. Okay, so just be careful when you're using this equation. Okay, just using correct length scale to define Nussbaum number, and using correct length scale to define this Rayleigh number. Any question? Okay. So this is for the fully developed flow region, how we can quickly calculate the heat transfer rate. Okay, this Nussbaum number, for this fully developed region of the flow, free convective flow between a vertical gap of a channel. And the next one, we will think about the entrance effect for this problem. Okay, and so we need to find this thermal entrance effect, right? As you see that, we already draw this before, that you have one plate on the left and one plate on the right, and their boundary layer thickness is like this one. This is like this one, okay? And until they draw, this region, we call this this is x direction, okay? This is x, this is y, and this region we call it x of t, okay? If this is temperature profile. And we know that for vertical plates, xt is proportional to x of 1 over 4, right? And from our previous scaling analysis, okay, what's the, and this distance here is this delta of t, right? And this distance here is delta of t. So basically means that this xt happens that when delta t equal to this w over 2, okay? Oh, I make a mistake. This is not x of t. This is delta of t, proportional to x to the 1 power 4. Okay. So when delta t becomes w over 2, then we can see that okay, the entrance region is finished, okay, and after that will be the fully developed cases. From our scaling, we can just do our scaling analysis, like let me see the previous last class lecture notes. So it's on that table. Where is that table? Table, scaling analysis table. Sorry. Scaling analysis table. This one. Oh, it's here. From this table, this is our last lecture. You see that by doing scaling analysis, the thermal boundary layer thickness delta t, when Prandtl number is larger than 1, is basically proportional to h. You can replace the h to x, okay? X to really number x to the minus 1 over 4. And for this one, it will be basically just x times the Bosnisk number to the power of minus 1 over 4. Okay, we're just using this scaling results directly to our oh, not here. Is it here? Okay. So for case when your Prandtl number is larger than 1, it's not here. Okay. So when Prandtl number is larger than 1, we have that we know that this will be delta t. Okay. This will be delta of t. When delta t is close to half of the gap length, we know that we know that the entrance length. And this delta t actually from our scaling analysis of last lecture in that table, it will be x of t times the really number of x of t to minus 1 over 4. And you have the x t here. And remember that this really number is also contain a x cube term, okay? X cube term for this number. So you regroup this term together, basically you can get this equation. That means that, oh, not this equation. I made a mistake. Let me remove this, it's not correct. So basically means that if you want to calculate the entrance length, you have this x over t times the Rayleigh number will be g of beta xt of cube tw minus t infinity divided by mu of alpha to the power of -1/4 will be close to W/2 if PR larger than 1, prime number than 1. In these cases, right? So you have xt here, you have xt to the power -1/4, 3/4, you know, and you regroup it, you can calculate xt equal to something, okay? Results. We can calculate the entrance line. And for parameter smaller than 1, so just change this Rayleigh number to the Bosnisk number. So this will be mu for alpha squared rather than mu divided by mu divided by alpha squared rather than divided by mu alpha. Okay. And also that because we're seeing that the fully developed region it only exists when this xt is smaller than h, right? And you can bring this result for xt to this condition. You can see that okay. So fully developed region only exists when this Rayleigh number is smaller than this h of w terms, or when prime number is smaller than 1. The fully developed region only exists when this Bosnisk number is smaller than this h over w term, and this h over w is the aspect ratio, okay, of the channel. Okay, so it's basically the geometry will determine. This is the geometry term, and this is a flow term. Okay, you can know that if the fully developed region exists. Actually. Okay. Any question?
No.
Oh, thank you. Okay. So the last one, the last 2 slides, is for the mixed convection. What the mixed convection means? Mixed convection means that it just simply means that you have both free convection and forced convection. You have both natural convection and forced convection. Okay. So for these cases, okay, you have vertical place, and you have this free stream. But now this free stream is also moving with the velocity. This u infinity is not 0. Okay, this is not 0 anymore. It's moving from bottom to top. For if this is a heated plate, if the wall is larger than infinity. So basically, if you consider what we learned for the forced convection, right? So if there is no free convection, what the forced convection telling us? It's telling us that, you know, if it's a forced convection, there is no free convection, there's no gravity, okay? You have this u infinity, you have this t infinity, and you do not have the gravity term, and you will have this delta for FC, okay? FC means forced convection, okay? You have this boundary layer thickness for the forced convection. And what that value will be? Let me check. We need to check our previous notes. So, okay. Maybe for Prandtl number is larger than 1, this delta of forced convection, the boundary layer thickness for forced convection is proportional to x of Reynolds number x minus 1/2 Prandtl number minus 1/3. And for Prandtl number smaller than 1, this delta of FC will be approximate to x of Reynolds number x minus 1/2. Okay, so this is a forced convection. Let me write it clearly. This is not, I didn't write it clearly. This is a forced convection. Okay. And if we have this natural convection, so we also have a plate here, but this u infinity will become 0, okay, and t infinity. We do not have velocity. we only have exists a gravity here, and we have this TW is larger than T infinity, and causing a natural convection free stream. Oh, sorry, natural convection boundary layer, and this thickness is the delta of NC. Okay, NC means natural convection. So for parameter number is larger than 1, this delta of NC will be equal to, from our previous result, it will be x for Rayleigh number x minus 1 over 4. Okay, not equal, it's approximate. Approximate. Okay, and for parameter number smaller than 1, the delta of natural convection thickness will be close to x of Bosnisk number x minus 1 over 4. Okay, so this is that if we do not consider the combined cases, okay, we're just thinking that individual force convection, individual natural convection for this vertical plate. So what the boundary layer thickness looks like, But when they combine, you have both of them. So one question usually we want to figure out is that we want to figure out the following question: when natural convection is dominated, in which flow condition, okay? And when forced convection is dominated. Okay, so because the reason we want to do this is that because we know that it will be things become very complicated. Okay, if you have both force convection and combined natural convection, and usually you have to solve the full Navier-Stokes by using computational fluid dynamic code, CFD code, to solve it. Okay, but if we know that in which condition that natural convection is dominated, then that means that in that condition, in that cases, we can just neglect the effects of the force convection. We can still using our results we obtained before, the analytic solution or empirical solution we obtained before, for natural convection cases for this mixed convection problem. Or if we find that, okay, in this flow condition, the natural convection can be neglected and only force convection is important, then we do not need to solve CFD. We just need to using our previous correlations in our chapter 2, and to calculate those force convection, chapter 2 and chapter 3, to using those force convection nuisance number results correlations directly. Okay, so this is the question we want to solve, and to determine which region, which convection mode is more important. You can simply just compare the boundary layer thickness of this free convection boundary layer thickness and this free boundary layer natural convections. Yeah. Okay. So this is a case 1. Okay. Prandtl number is larger than 1. We wrote this before. That for natural convection. Okay. Let me write it down so that people don't come. N of C means natural convection. And F of C means the force convection. Okay. Convection. Okay. We can just compare using these correlations we obtained before for natural convection and force convection of their thermal boundary layer thickness. Compare them that if your thermal boundary thickness of natural convection is much smaller than force convection boundary thickness, we can see that the natural convection is dominated. Or if your natural convection boundary thickness is larger than force convection, your force convection boundary thickness is small, then we can see the false convection is dominated. Basically, this means is saying that basically this is saying that the type of convection mechanism is decided by the smaller of the two distance. And reason why, okay, why we can using that if it's if we find that the natural convection boundary layer thickness is smaller, the natural convection is important, or if the false convection boundary layer thickness is smaller, the false convection is important. Why? The reason for this is very it's more, you know, it's like from common sense. Okay, so what is convection? Convection is the heat transfer between a solid surface, right? A solid surface and a moving fluid, right? Fluid surface. And so the important thing is that if you look the heat transfer rate actually is more directly dependent on the interface of the fluid and surface. Okay, this interface is because we know that this minus k dt of the x, if this is x direction, okay, dx give you q dot, right? Give you q dot, not q dot, q prime prime, is because it's a heat flux, not a heat transfer. Give you this q prime prime. Okay, so is that the temperature gradient at the wall give you the overall heat transfer rate, determine that you know what the heat transfer will be. Okay, so that means that if the in these cases, okay, if your natural convection boundary layer is smaller, your natural boundary condition layer is smaller, and this is so this is NC, and this is FC, okay. And because because outside the boundary layer, they will the thermal one will reach to the free stream region, right? So basically that you can estimate this dt or dx approximately do the scaling. It will be T wall minus T infinity divided by delta T, right? Okay. So if your natural convection delta T is smaller, if this delta, so basically you need to compare these two values, T value minus T infinity over delta T of FC of NC, right? And if this is smaller, this means that this value is bigger, right? This gradient is bigger, so this will give you higher heat transfer rate overall for this mode. And this, if this is the false convection term is large, then this means that you know the temperature gradient is relatively small for this mode, and then the heat transfer rate through this mode is smaller. So that's why this is more important. Okay, so that's the reason that you know the type of convection mechanism is decided by the smaller of the two distance. Okay, and you can you can regroup this compare this one with this one and regroup them, so you can call this correlation here Rayleigh number, Rayleigh number, Reynolds number, Prandtl number. So it is the order larger than 1. The natural convection is important. It's the order smaller than 1. False convection 1. This is just you know substitute these two into these correlations and just reorganize them. This is the case that when you have the Prandtl number larger than 1. For the cases of Prandtl number smaller than 1, it just follow the same idea, but just because that we have different correlations for this boundary layer thickness for the natural convection and false convection, and you can compare these two to seeing that if it's a natural convection is dominated or false convection is dominated. Okay, so just by comparing this boundary layer thickness, you can know that which mode is important. Okay. Any question here?
No.
No. That's good. That's good. Thank you so much. So we finished the lecture here today. This will be because this is the end of this chapter for the external natural convection. So next lecture we are going to continue for the chapter 5, which will be the internal natural convection. Basically, is a natural convection inside an enclosure, okay, or inside a closed channel. So we'll do that, and we will have new homework today. Okay, you can find the home. I already upload the homework. Did I upload it or not?
I didn't see it.
Oh, I will upload it immediately after this class. I already. Let me open the blog. Let me open the homework. Maybe you can see what it looks like.
No.
So the homework will be. Okay. So this will be the new homework, and it will be due next class. So you still need to send me by email. I know that it's not very convenient for you to to take a photo or scan it, but I think that's the only possible way we can do here. So we will have 5 problems for this chapter, and they are all small problems. Okay, usually just need 1 or 2 equations to get the results. And for the first one, I need to give you some hint. Okay, so first one is basically telling you that you have 2 vertical plates. You have 2 lengths of these 2 vertical plates. They have different lengths. They have different temperature, surface temperature. Then, in what condition their flow field, the temperature flow field will be closed, natural convection closed, will be similar. Okay, so to do this, you need to find that those which non-dimensionless parameter is important for natural convection. Okay, so basically, as long as those important non-dimensionless parameter is same for the 2 cases, their result will be same. Okay, and all the others you can just using the correlations for today's lecture. You can calculate it directly. All right. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah. So I will see you next week. And again, okay, I still have office hour by Skype. And if you want to talk with me for your exam or any question,
Quick question.
Sure.
Will homework 6 grades be posted on Blackboard
Yeah,
as well?
I will. I will. From 5, right? I don't think you also have 5. So 5 and 6 I will also put it there. I will.
Okay. The grades, right?
Yeah, the grade. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. I'll see you next week, and I will also put the lecture notes and this class video on the Blackboard tonight, and I will post the homework to the Blackboard immediately. All right. See you. Just stay safe, everyone.
Thank you too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.